3010S tractor, and these were sold as an economy tractor. It's a 3010S New Holland Ford. It was right over at the changeover between New Holland and Ford, Ford and New Holland. And it was the economy transmission. It's a high-low, 4-speed, 1 reverse, gear transmission. It has power steering, 16-inch rears and 16-inch fronts and 28-inch rears. And I was going to use this primarily as a loader tractor, so I bought this tractor with a good loader on it. It came with the loader. It's a 1996, and the loader, as far as I can tell, is a 2006. But because I was picking up a lot of heavy machinery, I put 12-ply fronts on and 14-ply rears on. Replace the lights with LED lights. There are cat lights in the rear and tiger lights in the front. And it is a quick detach loader, but I don't intend to ever remove it. I got a couple of cords hanging here because this is my battery charger and the battery heater, because the glow plug currently isn't working. I believe it's a wiring issue, but I haven't solved it yet. So I've improved the tractor with a canopy, and I put a Chsin radio on there and Chsin speakers. It came with loaded tires, but at some point I'm going to buy a box plate or a tiller and hang on the back to give myself extra weight. These rear weights were already on there. I believe these weights in the back came from everything attachments, and I bought a front weight from everything attachments as well. Also bought the everything attachments tooth bar and welded 8 hooks on the top of the bucket because I'm moving engines and axles around for antique tractors, and I have to hook them up so I can position them on shelving and wherever I want to in the barn. We're just using it around the property to dig out bushes and trees and pick up equipment. I did all the service on it. The hours were really low. It was the cheapest tractor I could get. With low hours, it was a good engine. It's got an Iveco 3-cylinder engine in it. I believe it's made in Italy. And I went ahead and did a full service on it. Put a better toolbox on because the toolbox was bent up. If you look in the back here, you'll see that this tractor has 3 remotes. So I actually bought the parts, mostly online, to install the factory extra remotes. They come with 1 remote, and but I wanted more remotes so I could run a baler if I chose, or put a hydraulic upper link on. Now the loader hydraulics don't tie up my rear remotes. So if you look, I've actually got 3 remotes. I put 3 remotes on. That's all that would fit in that space. But you could just stack those remote valves. The far left one is has float, and the other 2 do not. It's got a hammer strap. I've got this drawbar on there so I could pick up the front of another tractor, chain it to this tractor, and pick it up and move it around in the yard. And I went ahead and changed the stabilizers from the chain type to these because the chain types are difficult to use. And this is actually a glove box insert. I believe it might be for a military Jeep. And I wanted extra chain capacity, storage capacity on the tractor. So I went ahead and bolted that on there. This has got my gloves in it. I bought a Tisco seat. The seat was a standard, inexpensive Tractor Supply type seat. And I went ahead and bought a Tisco seat, but the seat cushion on the Tisco seat is terribly uncomfortable. So that seat they sell as a big boy seat has a better cushion. I went ahead and put a big boy seat cushion on the bottom there. These are just to lean against. These are off of some old military trailers I had to hold the tailgate up, and I can just turn around and lean against these, look behind me, and this is an upper link. The upper link that came on here was damaged and missing the lower hinge. So I needed a upper link that was longer than I had, so I went ahead, did some searching online, and I found a used Massey Furguson upper link. It's for a bigger tractor, but this is a Cat 2, so this upper link was a Cat 2 and it fit right on here. I had to rewire it. All of these holes in my ropes that you will comment about were there. Much to my dismay, it appeared from the sale yard in Pennsylvania with the ropes riddled with holes. So I took advantage of all those holes, since I'm not much of a welder anyway, and I bolted stuff on. Lots of stuff. But I didn't drill one hole in the ropes. These are actually the front bumper to frame supports off of a Hummer, a military Hummer. I had bought these online from another project, and they were laying in the scrap pile, and they were perfect to hang my blinkers on. These fenders, the fenders that come on the 3010S, look terrible. I couldn't stand them. So I looked online, and the Ford 300 has the same diameter rim, 28s in the rear. So I went ahead and bought Ford 300 rear fenders and bolted them on, and I think they look great. So the canopy was from Waco, Texas, the Perry Company. That's where the canopy was from. But I wanted a canopy that clamped to the top of the roll bar, and the reason why is I already had so much stuff bolted to the sides of the roll bar on those holes that were already there. I had to search for several weeks for a canopy that clamped to the top of the roll bar. I found this spinner that attaches and wraps around the steering wheel and doesn't pinch it in one little spot. I think I got it from a dealer called Broken Tractor online. And I color coded my remote levers so I keep track of which remote I was hooked to, and put a cup holder on there, everything I could think of that would be convenient. I added a USB connector, put a phone mount on as a RAM mount, and this has a door handle from a military vehicle I had laying in the yard in the scrap pile I wasn't using. Now this has a fuel tank leak. I did buy a used fuel tank, but I don't know when I'll find time to take that sheet metal apart and change that fuel tank out. If I fill it over about 3/4 full, it'll start to drip, so I just don't fill it over 3/4 full. But I had to change the tie rod ends. This tractor can pick up about 3,500 pounds in the front and 3,800 pounds in the rear. And this loader's heavy enough. The tractor at this, I had it weighed, and the tractor in this configuration weighs 7,300 pounds. So that's hard on the front tie rod ends, because when you're moving stuff around, they work pretty hard. So even though it's got 700 hours on it, they were all worn out, so I had to change those. Otherwise, it's in really good shape. I'm really happy with it. It's got a Woods LU126 loader, and there's a higher rated loader for this, but it would definitely overload the front axle. And it's a pretty good tractor. It's 55 horse, and there's just not a lot of information on YouTube where people talk about this tractor, because I don't think it was well thought of. They were assembled in Mexico. A lot of the parts were made over in Europe, and the popular ones were made in England. And this is not one of the popular English-made tractors. So I hope you like it, and I think this tractor is a pretty good tractor. The transmissions are considered reliable in these tractors, and it's got a pretty good clutch in it. And it's a great tractor to use as a loader tractor or a hay tractor. You could use this as a hay tractor. It's about right. And that's all.